LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga, arguably one of the best games of the past few generations, and debatably of all time. With perfected couch co-op action and fun for the whole family when you're not killing each other on Mustafar, this game pushed LEGO games and video games in general to a new standard entirely. It didn't just raise the bar, it built a new one. No LEGO pun intended. And with that, every LEGO game and or Star Wars game to succeed it had new expectations held to them. But I'm not here to talk about those games today. I'm here to talk about the Complete Saga on its own. This game is good! That's what this part of my script says. This game is good. And to be honest, I could just leave the review there, but then where would all my engagement come from, huh? Anyways, we're not just going to be talking about the LEGO Star Wars Complete Saga today. No. Today we're taking it up a notch. Or down, technically speaking. Today I'm going to be looking at the DS port of the game. Now, I've looked at DS ports before, in the form of the Transformers games, but those are less so ports, and more so entirely different games with the same name. They play very differently to their console counterparts, and were developed by different people. This game, I'm surprised to be able to say, is an almost shot-for-shot, scene-for-scene, by-the-book recreation of the console version of LEGO Star Wars, but on the Nintendo DS system, if that wasn't obvious enough already. Now, there are some things that are watered down, and I'll get to those in due time, but for now I just want to talk about how the game manages to pull off such an incredible feat of being available on the Nintendo DS, despite being a fully fledged console game. This game, while removing some things, manages to be basically everything that the console version was. It's on Transformers Decepticons levels of impressive for me, especially considering the hardware available at the time of this game coming out. Anyways, I should probably mention before we start that in this video I'm only going to be covering the prequel missions and nothing from the original trilogy. I want to make this video into two parts for my own brain's obsession with organization's sake, and also because who doesn't like two-parters? However, before we dive in, I have a quick message to share with all of you. Sergeant, I found the enemy. What do we tell them? Do we tell them that today's video is sponsored by Atlas VPN? This video is brought to you by Atlas VPN. Now, for those of you who don't know, a VPN, or virtual private network, makes all of your internet traffic travel through an encrypted tunnel. This way, it protects you from spying, public Wi-Fi dangers, and it hides your IP address and your online activities. Alongside this, Atlas will also block malware or other malicious ads and trackers, keeping you safe on a more layered level. This VPN is the epitome of more than meets the eye. For the most affordable price on the market, as low as $1.99 a month, Atlas VPN also allows you to watch shows that only exist in other regions on streaming platforms such as Netflix or Amazon Prime at incredibly fast speeds. No more laggy servers for you. And hey, if this isn't for you, then Atlas does offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's no pressure at all. All you need to do is hit a few switches to choose where you want to appear in the world, and that's really all there is to it. It's that simple to use, and it'll protect all of your devices with just a single subscription. Now, I've been singing its praises for the past minute or so, but if you want to try out Atlas for yourself, which I genuinely recommend, you can use my unique code that I've left for you in the description and the pinned comment down below, and you'll receive an 86% discount if you use said code. Now, I just want to say a quick personal thank you to Atlas VPN. It means a lot that you guys sponsored today's video, being the first ever sponsor on the PiranhaRoni YouTube channel. It means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. With all that out of the way, let's get on with today's video. So we start the game off in the Mos Eisley Cantina, as all of you probably already knew. You start as both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. This is the same as the console version, and also the PS2 version of LEGO Star Wars the video game. Qui-Gon kinda looks like a squashed hot Cheeto dipped in barbecue sauce with that low poly hairpiece he's got going on, but there's nothing wrong with that. The cantina is fun to explore, but from the get-go it's pretty empty, and it feels like it's lacking a lot of life that unlocking the characters from the bartender will bring. As many of you know, you can fill up the cantina with unlockable characters. You can fight them in bar brawls and so on, which is a lot of fun, and especially so if you challenge another lightsaber wielder to a duel. In this version of the game, it's a little more watered down in the fact that you can't fight any standard characters. In the console versions of the game, there are non-unlockable characters in there that die in one hit, but they instigate a lot of bar fights themselves, and it's a whole lot of fun. Here, you don't get that, but when I was a kid, this was the main version of the game that I played, so I got used to a more docile Cantina over the chaotic one from the console version. Anyways, onto the main missions. Now, the first mission anyone will complete or play in the complete saga is Negotiations. This is a pretty short mission, and it has you running through a Trade Federation ship mowing down B1 battle droids and droidicas. It's a simple mission with a few hidden areas here and there, but you can't access those until you unlock free play. And if you don't know what free play is a separate mode that allows you to re-enter any level you've previously beaten, but this time as any character of your choosing. For example, you could have Anakin Skywalker fight, I don't know, Darth Maul at the end of the Phantom Menace if you really wanted to, or you can have Count Dooku fight Mace Windu on Mustafar. It's completely up to you. This feature is most commonly used in the Mustafar Duel level anyway due to the nature of it, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, this level kinda sets the stage for the rest of the game. We've got a lot going on here. Hidden areas, enemies to fight. It's basically the most simple LEGO Star Wars level you've ever seen. It doesn't get much simpler than Negotiations. Anyway, after you slice your way through some droidicas and board an MTT, you're given the option to continue the story or enter free play. For the sake of recording this video, I chose just to continue the story, but you could enter free play and screw around with the newly unlocked characters from Negotiations if you wanted to. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, since the only character you unlock there is TC-14, but sure, you know, for all you TC-14 fans out there, there's something for everyone. Anyways, we move on to the second mission of the game. Here we play Captain Panaka, I hope I'm not absolutely butchering that pronunciation, I've always called him that, and Queen Amidala as we attempt to repel the invasion on Naboo. It's also at this point during the playthrough that I decided turning down the copyrighted music was probably a smart move so that I could have the sound effects playing in the background. So you're gonna hear a lot of LEGO footsteps and screaming from now on. I could have thought about that one sooner, but hey, here we are. There's something really charming about this level. I really like the setting of the Theed Palace and Naboo in general. It really feels like a Star Wars location, you know, as opposed to some other locations. So it's always a treat to get to run around slicing droids as Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace scenarios. Like, I don't know, the Phantom Menace just feels a lot more like a Star Wars movie. All the locations there feel very Star Wars. And the same is true for the LEGO game. Anyways, speaking of Obi-Wan, halfway through this level you get to play as both Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon again. And let me just say that the lightsaber characters in this game are infinitely more fun than the blaster characters, or any others for that matter. While the combat is clunky and only has a 3-hit combo system, it's really fun to use regardless. Shooting enemies has nothing on killing foes with your lightsaber attacks. I played this game when I was a kid and I used to have that same belief, and here we are talking about it again in the present day, and my opinion hasn't changed. Some lightsaber wielders are different from others though, most notably Mace Windu and Darth Maul just to name a few, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So after this mission comes Anakin's Podrace, which I found to be really annoying. I've never lost the race itself, but I just never really enjoyed the top-down perspective of the vehicle missions in this game. I found them to be a little disorienting, if anything, but I appreciate the inclusion of the vehicle combat into the game anyway. I'll cover the space combat later when we get to missions like the Battle over Coruscant. Anyways, after this, it's back to Naboo with young Anakin, R2-D2, Captain Panaka, please tell me I'm not butchering that, Padme, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon Jinn. This is a fun mission that, much like the second, has you running around Naboo taking out battle droids left, right, and center. It's actually probably my favorite mission in the Phantom Menace set of levels because of both the length of the level and the amount of things there are to do. There's a ton to destroy, which is always a bonus, and that's something I always had an obsession with when I was a kid playing this. I didn't so much do it when recording this gameplay, but when I was younger I'd make an effort to destroy almost every single block I could find in every level. Any item that could and would be destroyed, I had to shove my lightsaber into, and I'll let you interpret that how you will. I also found a friendly battle droid in this mission. This game has its fair share of bugs, and this was a new one that I hadn't seen before. Bats confirmed in LEGO Star Wars. If you guys don't know about Bats, he's basically a canonically friendly B1 battle droid that went on to like dual wield blasters and whatnot, and he asked Anakin for a lightsaber. I don't know, don't worry about it. I didn't know about this until a few days ago either, but it's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I'd do anything to see that in live action. Imagine a B1 battle droid slicing down clone troopers with a lightsaber. Well, I mean, he's friendly, so he wouldn't kill clones, but you know what I mean. That'd be badass. Now, don't worry, I made sure to reward him for surrendering by executing him. This is LEGO Star Wars after all, and it wouldn't be complete without slaughtering everyone in sight like animals. I hate them! Anyway, the rest of this mission sets up the appearance of Darth Maul for the final boss of the Phantom Menace. There's a final segment of the level where you're tasked with saving some Naboo officers. I forget their official name, but you save them and you get a cutscene with Anakin flying his N1 starfighter out of the hangar to go and destroy trade ships in space. Now thank the Force we don't have to play that mission with the space levels we've got in this game. You already know my opinion on those. I hate them! So the final boss of the Phantom Menace is, of course, Darth Maul. I mean, what else were you expecting? Who else were you expected to be? Fucking C-3PO rocks up with 4 lightsabers, changes the whole course of history. Darth Maul's boss fight is pretty simple, but it's also really fun. The first phase has you deflecting blaster fire by timing your block just right to take out the B-1 droids guarding Maul, and then hauling canisters that he throws at you back at him. Once you do that, you can rebuild the bridge separating you two and chase him down to phase 2. In this section, you're in that cool room with all the beams coming out of the ground or whatever, you know the one I'm talking about. The colors are a little desaturated here, but it still looks good. Anyways, you beat some battle droids in order to continue the chase, and then we enter the final phase of the fight. After deactivating 1,000,001 of those shield generators, we finally get to fight Darth Maul one-on-one. He's actually pretty brutal in this game for some reason, and likelihood is he'll kill you at least once, so make sure you pick up all your studs after you die, because you ain't preventing it. After you spam lightsaber swings on him for a few minutes, you'll have him beat, and we get the saddest cutscene in video game history. After that, I decided to cut Queen Amidala to pieces in cold blood before making my way to the Cantina band to show you this cool glitch I found when I was about 8 years old. If you perform the jumping lightsaber attack to the left of the Cantina band, you get a cool multiple hit lightsaber sound effect that isn't heard anywhere else in the game. I thought it was kinda neat, so let me know in the comments if you've done this before as well. I also want to show off the custom character feature in this game, which allows you to combine parts from characters you've unlocked throughout the course of the missions to create your own Star Wars characters. I'll go over this in more detail in part 2, but I thought I'd show it off here anyway. Protocol droid Jedi are always fun to play. I always used to give C-3PO Darth Vader's lightsaber. I'm not sure why, but it just looked really cool. Anyways, we start off Attack of the Clones with Obi-Wan on Kamino discovering the secret of the clone army. We follow a Kaminoan, I've always called them Kaminoans. Is it Kaminoan? I'm 90% sure it's Kaminoan. We follow them through the low poly rain effects and lightning sounds that sound like someone's rubbing their balls on the microphone in the studio into the cloning facility itself. The Kaminoan shows us to Django Fett, the original clone trooper and famed bounty hunter that Obi-Wan is presumably looking for. Inside Django's quarters exists a panel that R4 can activate. However, this one is different from the rest. This one has a minigame upon interaction, as do other panels. Some panels require various different characters, and depending on the character used, depends on what minigame you'll have to complete to activate the panel, if any of that makes sense. If you beat the minigame in a set amount of time, you'll get more studs, and the opposite is true for you if you do it slowly. The rest of this level is basically a long chase sequence followed by a boss fight with Django and his fire spray gunship, or whatever iteration you want to call it. The name has changed 1,000,000 times at this point. The actual chase itself had me blowing myself up 1,000,000 times because I was super impatient, so I put Obi-Wan through minutes of torture to record this video. I'm sure I've given Lego Obi-Wan some kind of PTSD towards landmines at this point, but hey, who knows what he really thinks about landmines? I guess we'll never know for sure, since he can't speak. Anyway, the boss fight with Django is really simple, but it's really fun. You just have to hit him with your lightsaber a few times while dodging Boba Fett shooting at you from the Slave 1. Django will also fire missiles at you throughout the fight, but I wouldn't worry about those. So once you're done with that, we get a cutscene showing Obi-Wan arriving on Geonosis, and we head into the next mission that has you play as Anakin and Padme in the droid facility. Sorry, Master, I've got gas, Master. Nothing too crazy here, you just run and gun some Geonosians. Again, please tell me if I'm butchering it. I've always called them this, but now that I'm actually making a Star Wars video, I feel like you're all going to slaughter me. Anakin plays very similarly to Obi-Wan, but to me, it feels as though his lightsaber swings are faster. His hitbox placement also just feels a little bit better, but that could just be a placebo, and I might just be losing my mind. So we beat the droid factory level, and we're on to the Battle of Geonosis. This mission has you playing as Mace Windu during the battle, with your objective being to save Padme, Anakin, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're all tied to these big poles that you have to defeat waves of enemies in order to lower them down to a savable level. It's a lot of fun. There's something inherently satisfying about playing as Windu too. He has his own set of unique running and attack animations, as some other Jedi do not, and his double jump slam attack comes out a lot faster, and it has faster recovery than any of the other Jedi in the game. Again, with the hitboxes too, I just feel like his hitboxes are better, and he seems to take less damage from other lightsaber characters when dueling, but again, maybe it's just a placebo. I don't know how the hitboxes in this game work exactly, but that's what it feels like. I know there is a difference between some of the lightsaber characters, since people like Maul take less damage when swinging and dish out a lot more, and I'm pretty sure that's because he's got double the hitboxes for both attacking and defending. Who knows, maybe I'll make a separate video on that, but for now let's continue with Attack of the Clones. So halfway through the level we're faced with another boss fight with Django Fett, which is actually a lot easier than the other one. With no Slave 1 to dodge the fire from, you can just pummel Django to a blocky pulp. So with that out of the way and Django left for dead on the sands of Geonosis, we move on to the next mission of the game. The next one has us take control of a Republic gunship.
Good thing those bugs can't aim.
which is really cool on paper, but you already know how I feel about the flying levels, man. So the final level of Attack of the Clones has you take control of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker as they make their way through many a ketchup colored battle droid to finally come face to face with Count Dooku in another final boss battle. It's at this point in the video where I really just want to take a moment to appreciate how similar this game has been to its console counterparts so far. Almost every level has been minimally downscaled to fit the hardware limitations of the Nintendo DS, but you can really tell that so far they've packed a ton of content into this port, and it's not just another one of those DS game ports lazily and sloppily done. No, I remember spending hours upon hours on this game, similarly to how I spent time on Transformers DS, and I had so much fun with all the content and characters that this game has to offer. It had so much going for it, and it really felt like a full-scale console game on a small handheld, just like the Transformers games did. You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here with that. TT games are known for the effort they put into their LEGO games, and this one is no different. Anyways, back to the video. So, we duel with Count Dooku as Anakin and Obi-Wan for a good minute or two, before Anakin's hand gets chopped off and he's replaced by Master Yoda for the remainder of the duel. You'll find yourself repelling his Force lightning and straight up dueling him until all of his hearts are depleted. And with that, you'll find Dooku down for the count, and we can finally move on to what is my personal favorite Star Wars movie. Revenge of the Sith holds such a special place in my heart, mainly because of the Anakin and Obi-Wan duel, which in itself is my favorite scene in any Star Wars media ever. I can't reiterate enough how many hours I spent playing episode 3 in this game, to the point where you could probably have played the entire game over tenfold to match the hours I poured into Revenge of the Sith portion of this game. The first mission is the space battle over Coruscant, and like I've said throughout the video numerous times concerning the space levels, I hate them! I just think they're pretty monotonous, and there's nothing really fun about the gameplay to me. The new Skywalker Saga vehicle gameplay looks leagues better than the complete saga, both this version and the console version, so I'm really excited for that. Anyways, this mission covers the entire opening segment of the movie, from Anakin and Obi-Wan flying their starfighters to them fighting Dooku and saving the Chancellor. Sorry, Master, still got some gas left, Master, from the last movie, Master. This version of the game skips that boss fight and has it implemented into the cutscenes of this mission. The mission succeeding this one is the General Grievous battle on Utapau, which is actually pretty fun, and it's basically exactly the same as the one from the Complete Saga console edition. It's pretty crazy how they've almost recreated the entire fight shot for shot here. I mean, not from the movie, of course, I mean from the console game. You know, with every new level that this game throws at me, I realize more and more how fantastically accurate they've made this port. If you've played the console Grievous fight and then picked up the handheld one right after, you wouldn't really think anything of it. It's literally the same level. Anyways, Obi-Wan kills Grievous in what can only be described as the most uncivilized killing of the decade, and we shift on over to the Order 66 defense on Kashyyyk level. This is actually probably my least favorite level bar the battle over Coruscant, just because I don't like the visuals all that much. The whole level feels super empty to me, and I just can't explain it. It's hard to put my finger on it, but the level feels really lifeless compared to the others, which sounds strange, but I hope I'm making sense. Especially after the Geonosis arena battle we had earlier in the game. Anyways, you gun down or slice up a few clone troopers, whichever you fancy. You can do the same to some B1 battle droids, and you'll find yourself at this Indiana Jones boulder type scenario. You can just use Yoda to jump right over it, but you need Chewie to open the door right at the top, so if you're thinking about outsmarting the game at this point, think again. The level after this one has you play Obi-Wan and Yoda at the Jedi Temple post Order 66. Something I really like about this level is the inclusion of the Jedi clone troopers, or the clones disguised as the Jedi. Here we get to see a small number of clones in hoods outside the temple, which is ripped right from a deleted scene from episode 3. Just a nice touch on TT Games' part. Anyways, you enter the Jedi Temple, go to the archives, and discover the truth behind Darth Vader. This is a pretty simple, fun level, and if you're interested in collecting mini-kit canisters, there's a few of them hidden around here too, so you can take your time exploring the temple a bit more than I did in this footage. The next level is my favorite in any LEGO game ever made, the Duel on Mustafar. It's one of the most enjoyable levels for me, and not just because it's Anakin versus Obi-Wan, and that's my favorite sequence from the movies, but because the implementation of it into the game here is so much fun. This is a level that revolves around two characters fighting, but due to the unstable nature of the environment they're fighting on and around, they're forced to work together to allow themselves to get to safer ground. It really captures that element from the film where they're actively jumping all over this unstable machinery and terrain during the fight. Of course, in the movie they weren't actively helping each other progress through the lava lakes of Mustafar, but they were occasionally running from spewing lava here and there. and I don't know, I just really like this level. You can play through the level as either Anakin or Obi-Wan, however when you reach the final stage, you're forced to exclusively use Obi-Wan Kenobi to defeat Anakin. In the console version of the game, you can use either one of the characters, and depending on which one wins, you get a slightly different outcome for the duel. Something else to note about this level is that in the cutscene after the fight with Anakin, his lightsaber is red, just like the concept images for Revenge of the Sith. My guess is that TT Games had been given the concept art to work with while developing this version of the game. Despite this version of Anakin only being playable in this mission, he's not referred to as Darth Vader or anything like that. He retains the name of Anakin. I mention this because in the new Skywalker Saga, it looks as though Episode 3 Anakin is going to be a separate character to Jedi Anakin, so the possibility of him being named Darth Vader Episode 3 or something of the like isn't too far-fetched, especially considering that at the time of the Mustafar duel, he had already become Darth Vader, technically, but I suppose because he hadn't put the costume on yet, people still referred to him as Anakin. I've also never played multiplayer on the DS version of this game, however I would assume that if you did play multiplayer, at the end of the Mustafar duel, you'd be able to face off against your friend just like in the console version of the game. I say this because you're forced to use Obi-Wan Kenobi without a second player at this part of the game, which is the only time in the game you use one character instead of two. Either that, or player 2 would just watch player 1 fight Anakin on his own, which would be pretty underwhelming. I'm not sure about it because I've not personally tried, nor do I have the means or number of DS systems to do so, but I thought I'd throw that out there since the co-op Mustafar duel is a massive draw to the console version of Complete Saga. So there you have it, the prequel trilogy from the Complete Saga DS. I played these levels far more than I did the original trilogy ones, and let me tell you, I had a hell of a blast doing so when I was a kid. There was nothing better than starting bar fights in the Mos Eisley Cantina at 8 AM waiting for my breakfast to be ready on a Saturday morning. In part 2, I'll be covering the custom character feature in more depth, alongside purchasing characters from the Cantina bar, considering now I've got a bunch of them to actually purchase after having played the last 3 levels. Regarding the LEGO Star Wars content, there was a little question I wanted to ask you guys, and that would be if you would be willing to see more of it. Obviously, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is coming out soon, and it's basically a remake of the Complete Saga video game that we all know and love from when we were children. I've been excited for this game since... it's probably been about 2.5 years now that I've been waiting for this game, and I'm really excited that it's almost at its release date. Now, if you'd want to see me play through it, please let me know. If you'd like to see me talk about it, make videos on it, please do let me know. Leave a comment down below. I mean, I love talking about this game. Who doesn't like LEGO Star Wars? But please do give me your opinions on that, considering the game's about to come out. I'm so excited for it, specifically the Mustafar duel level. But anyways, like I said, that's the end of today's video. I do appreciate you all watching. I want to give another thank you to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video, the first ever sponsor I've ever had. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you want to be notified when the second part of this video drops, and if not, then that's no stress either. But either way, I appreciate you watching this far into the video at least, and I will see you all in the next one.